Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to those who are joining. I am speaking with two experts today around lifestyle and AI tools to enhance fertility. So it's going to be a super interesting conversation. Please have your questions ready. We are being joined by Erin, who is a nurse practitioner from the Fertility Institute based in New Orleans. And they are a first fertility centre of excellence to answer your questions, along with Olga, who is CEO of the Leeaf App. And First Fertility and Leaf are not affiliated, but we have invited both parties to join in today's discussion so that we can talk about nutrition, lifestyle, and how, as I mentioned, AI can support and enhance fertility. So things that you really should be hearing about and make the most of these experts giving their expertise. And feel free to ask any questions live or DM us following. So I'm going to see if they're here and then we can get started. Today, it's going to be a really, really insightful conversation. So here we go. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Erin, you are slightly upside down. So if you could just tilt your camera.
Hi. Is that better?
There we go. Hi, Olga. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Good. I've just given you both a brief introduction and talked about the Fertility Institute in New Orleans, as well as Olga being co-founder of the Leaf App. So could you please introduce yourselves, and then we will start talking about how AI and also lifestyle can enhance fertility.
Sure. Do you want to
Go ahead.
first? Okay. I'm Erin. I am a family nurse practitioner that specializes in fertility treatment. So I work in a reproductive endocrinology and infertility clinic based out of New Orleans in Louisiana. We do everything from seeing patients, working them up, giving them diagnoses, and then proceeding with like fertility treatment and stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Olga, please introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Olga. Sorry, I'm Olga, co-founder of Leaf, and I'm based in Prague, in Czech Republic. In the past 3 years, we have focused to develop AI-based decision supporting tool for IVF, but currently we're enhancing it to become a overall medical platform that enables clinics and hospitals to leverage the data they have about their patients.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both for joining me today, and welcome to those who are following and joining us live as well, or watching back. As I mentioned, First Fertility and Leaf are not affiliated, but we have invited both parties to give expertise and insight around lifestyle, nutrition, and AI tools to enhance your fertility journey. So I would like to start by asking you, Erin, what impacts fertility the most and why?
So just from basic biology, we know that fertility is most impacted by age. Women are born with all of their eggs, and over time, they call it the biological clock is ticking, but we know that once women reach the age of like 37 up into 40s, their early 40s, fertility really does take a deep dive. There's other small things that can impact fertility, such as other diseases like diabetes, hypertension. There's other endocrine or hormonal diseases, such as like PCOS, that can affect it. And then also uterine anomalies that people don't realize that they might have until they actually go have a fertility workup, or if they have abnormal cycles, such as like fibroids, polyps, stuff like that.
And also, Erin, sorry, I was going to ask Olga, you the same question, please. Similar question. Is fertility a one-size-fits-all, or should it be personalized?
At Leaf, we believe that it should be personalized. There's definitely age, which is the main determinant factor, but we are talking about the biological age. We can affect it by lifestyle in the environment that we're living, but also the effect of the medicine can be a little different on each of us based on our genetics. And that's what we're trying to do at Leaf, is to look at the whole spectrum of the data and try to find there new patterns, new correlations that can fine-tune the already existing knowledge to the patients so that the ovarian stimulation is more personalized by using exactly the stronger or the strongly correlated supplements for the patient.
And I presume I'm right in thinking, well, from what's happened with me personally as well, every protocol can be different in terms of you could have one cycle that turns out different to one that you have even a couple of months later in terms of how your body responds to medication. Is that right, Erin?
Yes. Definitely fertility. We do not view fertility as a one size fits all approach. Everybody has their own fertility journey. Some people may, you have the oopsie baby, and then some people maybe down the line have secondary infertility. But I feel like the information that we're presenting today can definitely fit somebody along their journey, whether they're just starting out or entering, a IVF cycle. Especially since there's many varying cycles that people have from time to time. Like some people may have very, very regular cycles, whereas others may, as they grow up, their cycles get more irregular. There's also very unique family units now, where it's not just like male and female. There's very many different types of patients that we treat. And everybody has their own reproductive goals. So I feel like the information that we're presenting, hopefully, some portion of it can fit everybody who's watching today.
Absolutely. No, completely agree. And I was going to ask you as well, how sort of methods can be different in terms of approaches. So when people come and see a specialist, how they can be sort of armed with information to help them make that first step, Olga.
Sorry, I didn't expect this was for me, but yes, I think definitely having the overall picture is on the past and having this to kind of be pre-analyzed by the doctor. And then we're also looking in our, especially in our observational study, in the possible effect of the environment and the lifestyle, where some of our patients are using different wearable devices. And we're looking on the effect of sleep and oxygen, blood saturation, how it could potentially affect their ovulation, and if there is some kind of direct cause, because we don't have that proven yet, of lifestyle.
Erin, when patients arrive at the clinic, do you find that most are sort of well read in terms of coming in saying, this is what I think might be the issue, I want to sort of get this evaluated? Or do lots of people need their hand holding in terms of first steps, first approach, not sort of knowing what the process is going to be like or what they might be tested for?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a mix. It depends on where they're coming from, whether they've already been to a fertility specialist or they've just had trouble trying to conceive and they've heard it from their friend, certain things that might help them. Everybody has their own different approach to it. A lot of people are just trying to dip their toe into fertility and just see what it's about. And then others come in saying, I know what I want. I know where I want to draw the line. And it's amazing how different people are in their journeys.
Absolutely. And it goes back to that one size doesn't fit all
Yes,
approach.
definitely.
Exactly.
If I'm,
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I'll just add that it's important to have really a good quality data and sources of information. And that's, I think, what is great about clinics, that they're providing this information. And we, for example, we're continuously consulting with our medical board to have the most updated information, because I think that's essential. There's a lot of noise on the internet, and I can, from my own experience, say that sometimes it's well, should I eat this? Yes or no? And there are opinions. So it's there's a lot.
Knowledge
And
is
then also,
definitely power for sure.
yeah, but also worrying if you've, done this or done that and thinking, is this going to affect my cycle? Beating yourself up about it. So
Yeah.
this is why it's always good to have these conversations.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you, Olga, about the app. How does it help gather information, utilize that for people's advantage, to enhance fertility, for holistic support, nutrition advice, and treatment?
Definitely. Thank you for this question. So at our app, you can find all the information that has been fact-checked by our medical board and by the doctors. So you can be sure that this information is correct. And then if you're part of some of the clinics that we cooperate, the data is, especially from the wearables, is used in the algorithms that we're building and that are being currently tested to become a medical device.
Great, thank you for that. We've also linked up the app in the bio, so for anyone who would like to check out the Leaf app, please do go there and have a look. And Erin, as a nurse practitioner, you do take a holistic approach to fertility, which is fantastic. And we know lots of people who are following and watching are really interested in that holistic approach as well. How do you feel that lifestyle modifications can improve your chances of success? And what would your recommendations be?
Yeah, like Olga said, there's definitely a lot of chatter on the internet. And I feel like knowledge is definitely power. So a lot of things that a lot of patients ask, very common questions, are what lifestyle modifications can I make to improve my fertility? There's many different points such as nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, all that stuff. As far as nutrition goes, there's really no concrete data stating that one specific diet can really impact fertility in a big way. But just leaning towards eating healthy to manage a healthy lifestyle is what we preach to patients. The most effective diet that we found that people have an easy time following is the Mediterranean diet, such as healthy fats and oils, lean protein, a lot of fish and chicken, vegetables, fruit, all that stuff. As far as like alcohol and caffeine consumption, a lot of people ask about that. We say moderation. If you're drinking a lot of caffeine during the day, there's really no concrete evidence stating that it will impact your fertility, but we do recommend lower amounts of caffeine, such as like 1 to 2 cups a day. And then smoking is definitely something that we try to get patients to quit doing, especially because there's an increased risk of miscarriage with that. And then as far as like supplements and vitamins, there's a lot of vitamins on the market right now, and a lot of them are not vetted through, the FDA or whatever the UK uses. I don't know what they use for medication regulation, but a lot of them are not studied. Some of them are studied by third party, but you just don't know what you're getting, especially if you're ordering from Amazon or, a third party company. So we just recommend that somebody gets on a prenatal vitamin with a lot of folic acid. That's really what we tell patients to do. As far as sleep goes, getting the right amount of sleep can really affect hormone imbalances. So if you're not getting enough sleep, it can definitely affect your hormones, lead to stress and moodiness. It also affects your quality of life. As far as exercise goes, moderation is the key, because if you over exercise, sometimes it can create too much of a calorie deficit, and it can impact your fertility. And then,
If anyone's any questions whilst we're speaking, please do feel free to ask. Sorry,
oh
Erin,
no,
what were
you're
you going
good.
to say?
I was gonna say, and then just stress. Don't beat yourself up. You're not doing anything wrong. It's not your fault. These are just the cards we were dealt. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was going to ask you, Olga, how do people through the app manage this holistic approach, such as nutrition, monitoring sleep, all of the above?
So of course, in our app, you can track what you are eating, how you exercise, and you can also see if we would have any recommendations for you. However, we're now working on the upgrade, where we're looking into more, I would say, more into the detail, where if you would fill out for example, we recommend for you to take the nutrition tests that are existing with your pharmacy, for example, and to get really the recommendation on which of the vitamins are you missing, to take them out correctly together with your doctor. The same follows with exercise. I completely agree with Erin. But also on the sleep side, I must agree that sleep is very affected by alcohol. We're going to publish the test results. but we can see clearly how bad the sleep is and how tired we are after alcohol consumption. And even we have some, of course, our colleagues that are testing and being part of the group that is not on IVF to see the effects. And sometimes we must laugh that we know exactly by the sleep curve what was happening that night. And I think overall the balance is the right amount, and stress, we have so far not seen any high correlation between the ovulation and stress. So sometimes it can even happen during our more stressful period that the oopsie happens. So I would really not beat myself for that and be really take it day by day and just be exactly in the right balance, feel good, and listen to the body as well. Eat what you need to eat and keep it in moderation.
Great advice. I think sleep is a really difficult one, isn't it? It's harder almost than nutrition because you don't always have control over it. And I'm someone who's suffered from insomnia in the past. And the more that you worry about the effects that not sleeping is going to have on you, especially with IVF coming up or fertility treatment, whatever it might be, it makes you even more panicked about sleeping, which can, stop you sleeping.
Yes, and with all the apps that are now tracking, we also have to be a little bit careful how to read them, because sometimes also when we're just being calm, it can already tell us that we're sleeping already. When we're not sleeping well, we're moving a lot. It tells us that we're, on the other hand, not sleeping when we're sleeping. So we also have to take into account that wearables are not perfect yet, and just take it as a good point of direction where we're heading, and not go crazy if it's a little lower the next day.
Absolutely. I want to come back to that question actually about wearables, because it's something we do get asked a lot, and I'd love to ask people watching whether they are tracking ovulation, and if so, how. Erin, I just wanted to ask you, at the Fertility Institute, do you support people with holistic advice, such as seeing nutritionist, for example?
Yes, we do for sure, especially nutrition and then emotional well-being. We actually have a few people in our clinic who run support groups for the infertility community here in Louisiana. We definitely think that is something that's a lot of people don't put a lot of weight into, but it's shown to be beneficial just to have that small community to lean on, especially when you have the good days and the bad days. I feel like it does really decrease the amount of stress that people feel. And then as far as exercise and nutrition go, we just try and sometimes we'll recommend people to a metabolic clinic for further evaluation just to make sure there's nothing metabolic going on, or if it's just we need to change some lifestyle modifications. So very important.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Olga, with people sort of tracking the elements you just mentioned, such as sleep, nutrition, etc., in the app, are they then able to take those to their doctor and say, how can I improve things here?
Yes. At this point, we're still not certified, so we are just analyzing the data through our observational study. And here we have seen some already smaller patterns, but the users can always export the data. It's their data. They can show it to their doctors and raise any concerns they have if they have been feeling something that is shown there as well.
Great. You mentioned before, and I want to come back to this now, tracking your ovulation, whether you're trying to conceive naturally or during a cycle with a clinic, for example. How important is that?
So I would beware to say that it's the most important thing. Definitely not. It's the treatment that the doctor has prescribed, and it's also the right application of all the medication as they have advised you. But I think definitely for in the long term, tracking all our information can give us good insight if there are any big changes. And maybe at this point, we're still not so far with our studies. But I think in the future, starting to detect our ovulation cycles very early can help us in the long run to be used as a prevention tool, especially, for example, in early age when we're turning into a poor responder, or we have been and we're not aware of it, or if we're experiencing really heavy menstruation and we just think, okay, it's after birth and this is this is not even IVF related. These can be early symptoms of issues that we don't have any data yet about. And we have a lot of unexplained infertility caused by, oh, back in the days, I used to have heavy menstruations or something like that. And I think we need more data to go get deeper and research this area more and help a lot of women that are not
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah, great advice. And what about you, Erin? How important do you feel that tracking ovulation is from a clinic point of view?
I definitely think it's good for patients to come in armed with that knowledge. Just starting to track your cycle, knowing how long it is. We instruct patients, the beginning of day one is cycle day one, so full flow of your period, to the next day of full flow of your period. And that's generally the time frame of how long your cycles are. I think it's important to know the different methods to use, and which one might benefit you if you're starting your journey and trying to conceive before you're seeing a clinician for treatment. So there's the calendar method. There's ovulation signs and symptoms such as mid-cycle spotting, maybe pain on one side of the pelvis where you might feel that ovulation pain, breast tenderness, bloating, and then cervical mucus changes, as well as the ovulation predictor kits, which measures the amount of hormone that your body produces when you are starting to ovulate. Typically, we tell patients if you're trying to do a natural cycle, maybe before you're stepping into treatment, is to know when you're about to ovulate and start maybe like a week before having intercourse before you ovulate, and then having intercourse every other day. Of course, it's very important that people follow their own bodies and know what's not going to put the most pressure on them. Maybe it's, having intercourse every 3 days, but we just don't definitely want to prohibit patients from having intercourse, because sperm exposure is also very important, and knowing when to have sperm on board is important
Do
as
you,
well.
you often see patients who have been struggling to conceive try naturally that sort of month or so before starting a cycle and then conceiving?
Yeah, we've actually, just kind of, even whenever we start our workup cycle, because we take a whole menstrual cycle to gain some data. What do your hormones look like? What does the uterus look like on ultrasound? What are your ovaries doing? And really just knowing when people are forming like a mature egg, we can arm them with that knowledge, and they don't necessarily even have to have medication, and we can just like tell them, oh, you're about to ovulate, and then they have intercourse and they pop up pregnant in the workup cycle too.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
stranger things have happened for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely. I remember being asked to monitor ovulation the month before starting um, treatment and cycle, and also looking at that luteal phase as well and the length of that. Does that
Yes.
sort of give you information about progesterone and that kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. So anybody who has a shortened luteal phase can definitely have that can impact fertility, because the second half of your cycle is just as good as the first half of the cycle. So if you're not producing a mature egg and releasing it in a timely manner, your luteal phase, which is the portion of your cycle that's going to support a pregnancy if it were to implant in the uterus, if it's too short, then we're going to run into problems in implanting, and you might have like an embryo that does fertilize, but you can't necessarily hold on to it.
Hmm.
So we definitely follow progesterone closely. We even start on progesterone supplements if needed, which seems to be like a very cheap way to help people, make them feel better and then just get that pregnancy on board.
Hmm. Olga, anything here that you've seen in terms of luteal phase or from tracking of patient research?
I have seen that every cycle is a little bit different, and if in the preparation cycle something goes really well, and the next time the numbers are a little bit off, it can be really affected by just here. It might be even the stress. It can be a lot of traveling, or just even the really big weather changes. So I would just be cautious that that our body is not it's not robotic, and we really as women change every month, and we have to be patient to our
Absolutely.
body. We have to in the
Hmm.
data.
I love that advice. And how can someone use the Leaf app, again linked in the bio like I mentioned, to access hyper-personalized treatment?
So that would be for now only with clinics, because they still have to be the one to check that we have all gathered data from them and is in the correct manner, so that the algorithm works only with good data.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that you'd like to share with those who are watching live or watching this back in terms of charting, nutrition, holistic support, first steps, etc.?
I would advise them to take every day the time to eat well, sleep well, track it down, and if there is something that is not making them feel good, to discuss it with their doctor, put it in their app if it's sleep or another, and really watch those things, because there can be small things that cause oxidation stress, and these might sometimes it's the little thing in the detail that is causing the difference, and that's the aim of our studies and everything what we do. We want to look into that one detail, or those combination of details that will help each woman on a personalized way have a better, more successful way to conceive, or have the knowledge why it's not working.
Absolutely. Erin, what about you? Any sort of closing thoughts?
I wholeheartedly agree with what Olga is saying. There are definitely things that have popped up in a workup that, you're kind of like, oh, well, that doesn't seem like it would really impact, but in turn, it really does. It's like what we call a yellow flag. It's not necessarily like the prime reason, but it could affect like when you're really ovulating, or if you're having pelvic pain, could that be something deeper that needs to be addressed in a different type of workup? And then also just knowing your body, and then knowing when you feel like something's not right, just talking to your doctor and maybe asking for the referral to a fertility clinic could be really beneficial. Because I feel like a lot of people get nervous, or, they hear fertility and they it's a scary place to step into when you don't know a lot about it. So just knowing when to come and see us.
So advocating for yourself and taking
Yes,
those first steps.
for sure.
Absolutely. Great. Well, thank you both so much for joining today. It's been really lovely to speak to you. I'm sure everyone's found it super insightful. If you'd like to learn more about your fertility status, you can schedule a fertility assessment to test your fertile health with any clinic close to you. If you're located in the Gulf Coast in the USA, come see Erin and the team at the Fertility Institute, who are based in New Orleans. And also Leaf. Please do check out our link in bio to find out more about the personalized approach and their amazing app. So Leaf's mission, as you know, Olga, is to positively impact the conception journey by delivering this tailored fertility treatment recommendations to patients. So please do go to the link in bio and check it out. Anything else, ladies, that you'd like to say?
All right. Wish everybody a nice rest of the day, and a great way of enjoying life and having a lot of babies, and good experience while having that.
Do reach out and get in touch with the team. And if if you have any questions, feel free to DM us as well. But thank you both so much for your time, and we'll speak to you again
Thanks
soon.
for having us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.